In this video, I'm going to rank every single exotic shotgun in Fortnite history from worst to best. And as the title of this video suggests, this is every shotgun that can be found in, well, the exotic rarity. I've got nothing left for this intro, so if you guys do go on to enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. We're pushing for 100,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you join this community, and use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop when you get the chance. But with that being said, let's rank every exotic shotgun. Beginning at my number 7 spot, the worst exotic shotgun in Fortnite history, it's no surprise, it is the Dub. While the majority of this list was pretty difficult to comprise, the Dub being in last place was probably the easiest decision I have made on a video in a while. There is no other shotgun on this list that I could even think about putting in last place because I just think that poorly about the Dub. Look, I always hated the Dub, but I feel like this weapon has aged so poorly considering that we now have a shotgun in Chapter 6 Season 3 that will bring your targets closer to you instead of the Dub, which will push you away from your targets. That weapon, of course, being the unstable Yoink shotgun, which you will see in this video. That's also a double barrel weapon that does way more damage than the Dub, right? So again, like I said, I already thought the Dub was bad, and then you bring in the unstable Yoink shotgun into the mix, which is just so much better than the Dub. This weapon just never stood a chance on this list. Cool, like you can hit people down and kill them to fall damage. You can also kill yourself to fall damage. And while yes, you can kill yourself with fall damage, you can also save yourself with fall damage with the Dub. I hear people all the time try and make an argument that this thing is good mobility. No, it is not. And it pushes you away from your target. So you know what? I honestly don't think there's anything more for me to say about the Dub. I really don't have anything positive to say besides maybe if you're in a 1x1 box with somebody, you can't really get pushed much further back. So at that point, I guess it kind of just acts like a regular double barrel, but I don't even think the regular double barrel is that good of a shotgun anyway. So I'm getting a little off track here. So I'll reel it back in here. The Dub is trash and deserves to be in the last place on this list today. But like I just said a couple of minutes ago, this list was really kind of up in the air from here on out. And at the number 6 spot, I'm going to go with the Lawless Twin Fire Slap Shotgun. Of course, as a lot of you guys probably know, right from Chapter 6 Season 2, this weapon would give you infinite sprint when you held it out. And that is a pretty good exotic ability, right? All things considered. I mean, especially for how bad the base version of the Twin Fire Auto Shotgun is, you really did need a good exotic ability to pair it with. And you got that here, except I don't really know that it works well with the shotgun. I feel like there's so many different things that you could have done to change this shotgun up that would have made it better in combat. But of course, giving you infinite sprint doesn't really help you in combat. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a box fight, having infinite sprint's not going to help you. And at the end of the day, right, this is just the legendary version of the Twin Fire Auto Shotgun, a weapon that I genuinely consider to be one of the worst of all time, right? Like, even if you gave this weapon, like, let's say a faster fire rate every single time you shot, or maybe it would reload every single pellet every time you hit somebody, right? Something that would actually help out this weapon in combat, because it really needed that, and unfortunately, you didn't get that here. Like I said, infinite sprint is very good, but I think the other 5 shotguns on this list beat it out. At my number 5 spot today, guys, is going to be the Lawless Blink Pump and Dump, again from Chapter 6 Season 2. The Pump and Dump as a whole is just a really confusing weapon and very difficult for me to rank. I feel like the community consensus is kind of mixed on this one. I think people just had such high expectations for it when it came into the game, and all of a sudden we got to use it and we're like, huh, maybe holding a pump and an SMG out at the same time really isn't that overpowered. Spoiler alert, it's not, because this weapon is, you know, painfully mid, I would say. It has its times, right, when it will excel, and of course, being able to save an inventory slot by not having to carry an SMG means that you could fill it up with something else very useful, like more heals, more mobility, you know, whatever you want. So I think it's very good for certain situations and certain playstyles, and especially the blink effect that you get here. Of course, that is going to be that quick dash every time you reload. That is a really good effect, right? I have said so many times in my videos, that is one of the best effects that you can have on a weapon, especially a shotgun, right, that's going to be used to, you know, close the gaps on people. And a weapon like this where you're going to be reloading all the time, right? I mean, you literally have 2 weapons to reload, and the blink effect happens every time you reload either of the shotgun or the SMG. So again, this is a weapon that I feel like is properly rated on this list. Like, I don't think it's in the top 50% of exotic shotguns, but if you see it on the ground and you don't have a sentinel pump, more than likely, yeah, you're probably going to take it. Moving on to number 4 is a weapon that I have already mentioned on this list today. It's the unstable Yoink shotgun. You want to talk about a shotgun that got a massive buff and literally changed the entire trajectory of this weapon. I mean, listen to this buff. they buffed the damage from 114 to 131. Of course, that will also increase the max damage cap from 171 to 185. A shotgun getting a 17 damage buff is almost unheard of, and look, I'm not saying it's crazy, right, because it was needed, especially on the launch of Chapter 6 Season 3. I was the first one to say, like, this thing doesn't feel that good, and the buffs totally helped it, and I'm so glad they added the ability, especially after seeing what they did with the dub on a shotgun that will bring people closer to you, because especially with a double barrel shotgun, you're going to need somebody in your face to just deal that really big damage, or else this weapon won't really be effective. What I will say is I totally understand the argument against this weapon, right? Like, I can understand why some people would say, well, you don't need an ability that's going to pull people closer to you when you're only going to use the outlaw shotgun when they're close to you anyways. I really understand that argument, but I feel like most times it actually does more to the opponent than just bring them closer to you, right? Like, it will mess up their aim. It just kind of causes chaos to the other player, and that's always a good thing. And don't forget, folks, the regular double barrel shotgun does 11 less damage than the unstable Yoink shotgun, right? Like, I'm trying to emphasize to you guys how much 131 damage is for a single shot. Not to mention that you can basically fire them both off back to back. Another shotgun that I think after Chapter 6 Season 3 is probably going to go down as maybe being underrated. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below on that, though. Moving on to number 3, right? And honestly, any 3 of these weapons you could probably put at the number 1 spot. They're all great shotguns, and my number 3 spot is the Heisted Breacher shotgun from Chapter 4. And what a weird weapon. You know, I love to talk about this weapon because there's genuinely no weapon in Fortnite history that functions like this. For one, it turns the heavy shotgun into a slug shotgun, right? And you guys know my thoughts on slug shotguns. I feel like they're just typically not really fitting in any meta in Fortnite. Like, if you ask probably 95% of players whether they would have a slug shotgun or they would have, you know, a regular kind of pellet spread shotgun, they would say the latter. And if this weapon was just a slug shotgun, it would be at the bottom of this list. But there is something else that makes it really, really good, and that's the fact that it can one-shot any wall. Especially with the nerfs to the heavy sniper, with it only doing 150 structure damage, I feel like the Heisted Breacher shotgun just naturally becomes that much better to have. Being able to catch anybody off guard and just jump into their box, right? You don't even have to use the shotgun portion of this weapon, right? You can just use this weapon to exclusively just take walls, break down people's walls, and just spray into someone's box if that's how you want to play. But since this weapon is so high risk, high reward, that means when good players use this weapon, they will tear up the entire lobby with it. I'm telling you, in the right hands, this weapon can be better than a regular pump shotgun. 106 damage is absolutely nutty, right? And of course, you have a slug, so you can hit from crazy distances, and every time you're going to hit a shot, you're going to be hitting for big damage because, you know, the entire slug is going to hit. It's a weapon that, while yes, I can personally acknowledge that I do not like using, I have gotten destroyed by it so many times, especially in reload. Good players will absolutely punish you using this weapon, and yeah, I mean, it has devastating capabilities in the right hands. Honestly, though, I don't think it's better than the unstable Frostfire shotgun, which is the weapon at my number 2 spot today, guys. Look, the exotic ability is really not that great, right? It either speeds you up or slows down your opponent, which is just kind of whatever, but at the end of the day, it has the same exact damage as a legendary Sentinel Pump, and I don't think it's crazy to say that, yeah, I would take a legendary Sentinel Pump over all these shotguns that I just mentioned so far on this list. Again, like, I just really wish they had given this weapon another ability that would be more useful, you know? Most of the time when you're using this weapon, you won't even notice the exotic effect happening. But like I just said, right, at the end of the day, it is a legendary Sentinel Pump shotgun, so most of the time, especially in Chapter 6 Season 3 with a painfully weak shotgun meta, if you see this thing on the ground, more than likely, you're going to take it because there's not many better shotguns so far that are better than the legendary Sentinel Pump. And honestly, I think a lot of you guys will probably have expected this thing to be at the number 1 spot today, but you know what? It's not. That's because that weapon, for me, the best exotic shotgun in Fortnite history, it's the Heisted Accelerant shotgun from Chapter 4. And you know what? This is not just the best exotic shotgun of all time, it is one of the best shotguns we have ever seen. This thing is an absolute tank once you start to get it going. Now look, I don't play zero build, I never really have, but I can understand that this is probably the best zero build shotgun of all time. Like, yes, obviously people are going to prefer their pump shotguns, that's just Fortnite players. players, right, including myself. But this weapon means you don't have to carry an SMG, and it will literally outduel people so strongly to the fact that you can kill people before they can even swap to their next weapon, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about when I say with, you know, the twin fire slap shotgun and the unstable sentinel, right? I want good abilities for these exotic shotguns. That's exactly what you get here, right? Increasing movement speed and the fire rate as you damage enemies. Anything that is going to increase your fire rate also means you're going to increase your DPS, and that is good, especially for a shotgun like this, where you're going to be hitting people, you know, 3, 4, 5 times in a fight. By the time you get to that max fire rate, you are getting like unbelievable damage for a shotgun that is not meant to be shooting at that fire rate, if that makes sense. It's just an absolutely titanic shotgun, puts people down like it's nobody's business, and again, there are very few shotguns in Fortnite history that I believe outduel the Heisted Accelerant. Alright guys, I hope you went on to enjoy that video. If you did, again, please consider leaving it a like and subscribing to join this ranking community. In my opinion, of course, the best on YouTube. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of these rankings and any video ideas that you would like to see me rank next, because who knows, your video idea could be my next video. With all that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace.